here, and we should be live. Thank you for joining. Really appreciate it. Excited to do this. We had a great conversation the other day.
Yeah, so happy to be part of your podcast. It sounds like you have done hundreds of them. How many have you done so far?
I haven't published every single podcast interview I've done, but if you net it all together between podcasts I've been interviewed on and podcast interviews I've done, probably 250.
Wow.
At least.
That is amazing.
A lot.
Oh, so what is the frequency of your podcast? Is like once a week, or you publish like multiple, or it's pretty much like free flow?
It's just free flow, really. I feel like I like to keep everyone guessing, like, oh, when's he going to release a new episode? So I keep it free. And also it allows for flexibility. I have, I try to get 2 out a week, roughly between the two podcasts, but it just depends on the mood, what's going on. But consistency, I think, is important, as you know. But enough about me, Pam. Let's talk about you. Give us a quick, 60-second brag about yourself, your background. What led you to where you're at in your career today?
Okay, very quickly. Hey, Pam Dinner here. Hi, everybody. I'm a B2B marketer. And really, when everybody think about B2B, they was like, oh, it's not sexy, it's boring. Okay, that's true statement to some extent. So kind of look at where I wear. I mean, clothes I wear, I'm kind of like not a very exciting like B2C girl. I'm on the B2B side all my life and always on the enterprise, and I deal with the enterprise clients. And my forte is sales and marketing alignment, but looking at that from a marketer's perspective, how to better support sales as a marketer. And that's really my forte. And I have written 3 books, and they are kind of like on surface. The title of the book, they are not related to each other, but they are. The first book is about global content marketing, how to scale content across regions. And the second book is really effective sales enablement, how to enable sales as a marketer. And the one arm of supporting sale is leveraging content marketing. So they are related. And the third book is really a short ebook and talking about artificial intelligence and what is the impact of AI in the landscape of B2B marketing. So if you are interested in any of those books, if you are listening, check the books out. All right.
And you're going to send them all to me, right?
If you want, I'm more than happy to do that.
I can take a nice picture for you and post it out on LinkedIn. But
okay, I will do that.
Lots to break down there. I'm especially interested in the AI component because this is so new. There's a lot of buzzwordage around this, but in your ever so humble opinion, what is the difference between B2C marketing and B2B marketing?
I think there are a couple of the differences, and I just want to call a couple things out. The first one is the B2C is more transactional. Like if you buy a piece of furniture, if you even buy, clothes, or you're shopping for something, right? You can make a decision very quickly, and the dollar amount is it's less compared with the B2B side. And on top of it, it's more transactional. Chances are you can make a decision very quickly. The frequency is much, it's more often. And on the B2B side, the technology or the product tend to be a little bit more complex. For example, if you want to buy a piece of software for a company, and that said 80 people is going to use it, right? So there's certain complexity associated with that product. Because there's a certain complexity associated with that product, then there's a lot of show and tell. That means the salespeople need to explain what that products will do for you. And the second thing is, given that 80 people will use it, you probably will need 80 licenses. So the dollar amount is substantially higher. Given that it involves with 80 people, that means the decision-making power or the people that needs to make that purchasing decision may touch on multiple departments, right? The user might be the marketing department, but the purchasing department may need to get involved. And also IT needs to get involved to ensure that there are certain kind of compliance for this specific software. And also we are talking about installation and migration of data. So down the B2B side, there are a couple of things I want to share with you. The usage tend to be a little bit more complex, and the technology or the product also a whole lot more, I would say, it's not probably not as intuitive, and the dollar amount tend to be bigger, and the purchasing cycle is longer. So that's pretty much the gist of the differences between the B2C and the B2B.
And why is it most people have such a hard time with B2B marketing, even if they are marketers? What do you see most people are really struggling with? What are most marketers struggling with?
I think there's always a different discussion and debate. When you are selling a product to a company, are you selling a product to a company, or are you selling a product to a group of people, or are you selling a product to, say, the end user within the company? So if you think about it, that a company or a group of people need to make a decision to buy, say, a product for the company, right? And the number of the decision maker probably tend to be a whole lot more. And then now the salesperson needs to understand who are the decision makers, and the marketers need to understand who are the potential buyers, and also who are the potential users. Who do I need to market to? So if you buy a piece of furniture, you are buying it, and we are marketed to you. So the buyer's persona or the end user is pretty clear, right? But if you are selling a product, there are multiple departments are involved. There are many decision makers, and a lot of time it can be a committee-driven type of decision. And as a marketer and as a sales, you need to determine who they are, and then your messaging or your content to them will need to be tailored a little bit differently. Like, for example, the purchasing person probably want to understand, what is a certain kind of compliance that your product offer. And then the user just want to make sure that it's easy to use. And the IT person probably want to make sure that, hey, you know what? If this is easy to install, do I need to do a lot of extra steps? So there are different things and different messages that you need to tailor for different people. That's why it's complicated.
Yeah, and complicated and easy at the same time too, because at the end of the day, it's human beings
totally
that you're
agree.
also marketing to.
Mhm.
Which is really interesting that you wrote a book on AI. How does AI play a role into that?
So before I want to talk about that, the AI's impact on the B2B side, I want to make sure everybody understand that AI is part of our lives right now. And a lot of people drive to work, not that we are driving at this time, but if you drive and you commute to work, a lot of people use Waze. And the Waze will actually show you the most effective or the fastest route for you to get to your office, right? That's the machine algorithm in the work trying to figure out, intelligently, what is the fastest route for you to get to your work based on all the information that the machine or the algorithm try to digest, right? That's artificial intelligence at work, right? And another thing is I'm pretty sure almost all of us are Amazon Prime users. We get on Amazon, we buy stuff all the time. Once you purchase something, there's always a recommendation, right? They will recommend similar stuff that you may be interested. Again, that's artificial intelligence, the algorithm at work. Based on your past purchasing behavior, they try to predict what will you be interested in buying. Netflix does the same thing to actually serve up the videos or the movies that you want to watch. What I'm trying to say is AI has been embedded into our life by using the smartphone that we have. And so a lot of people feel like, oh my God, it's going to take over our life. Already taking over our life. Nobody knows it because it's invisible. It's in the back, working very, very hard for us. Does that make sense? So I just want to make sure that even though that I just mentioned about artificial intelligence and I bring it on the table, but you need to understand every single app that use that actually present you something, recommend something, is artificial intelligence in the work.
So people's perception of AI, sounds like you've maybe even come across this, which sounds like maybe why you even address that first, is a little skewed. Like it's not like an artificial intelligence robot that's going and selling to prospects.
Right.
Talking about a much more simplified version of that via serving up on Netflix or, serving up recommendations.
Yes. So when I talk about AI at this point, it's the artificial intelligence algorithm that's embedded into your mobile apps, embedded into your software that you are using. I'm not talking about Terminator. I'm not talking about, there's artificial intelligence marketers that's taking over your job. Maybe somebody is developing
Do
that
the
right
deal
now.
if you want to live.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe somebody's doing that right now, but we are still far away from that. The things I'm talking about AI is how AI embedded into the software that will make your job easier. And if that's the case, so the applications or the usage of AI is abundance that can literally be embedded into all the software developments and all the tools that you are using. Does that make sense?
So how can marketers take advantage of that? How can
Oh,
B2B marketers specifically take advantage of that, and B2B sellers?
Yeah, there are many ways actually. For example, and I think I want to use one marketing examples and also one sales example, especially from B2B side of things. And I'm going to go with sales example. And for sales specifically, if you actually have hundreds of accounts, or if you need to identify what are the potential 50 accounts that you want to go after, okay, for 2021, for example. In the past, it's usually very subjective judgment and the decision that's made by salespeople. They know their accounts well, and they will look at their accounts or even the future accounts. They will say, okay, these we have opportunities or have a chance to tackle. But what if you enter all your customers' information, the customer data, the purchasing information, their transaction, their engagement, all your conversation with them in the Salesforce or any CRM tool. If you enter all the data, okay, into the system and identify what are the ideal customer profile, right? It's not like it's written, but it's being data driven, being created or being chosen, say by algorithm. Right? They look at all the data, all the piece of data, the transaction, the company size, the firmographic, everything, right? The AI use the algorithm to determine what are the lookalike type of account that you should tackle for, say, 2021, and identify, say, 50 of them. So you can actually enter the information, but of course that require you to actually write certain kind of algorithms and also build certain kind of model to actually do that. But there are actually tools or the third-party platforms can actually help you to do that at this time. LeadCrunch is actually one of the vendors to do that.
How do you not get to how would you leverage something like that, but also avoid this on paper into an AI algorithm looks like a good client, but out on the outside, these clients are actually that persona is difficult to work with or a pain? Can it measure, are we at the point where we can even measure EQ values of working with another, a type of client?
Connor, that's actually a very great point. So you brought up a point that still need a lot of human judgment. So when you are talking about, within this specific account, you identify, the target individuals that you should go after or have the relationship. And through some personal encounter, you notice some of them are incredibly difficult because they are very, very difficult that will delay the purchasing decision for a long period of time. Let's assume that. And that kind of information is very hard to quantify when you build the model. Does that make sense? If you actually have a model that's more quantitative and it's more black and white and a little bit more absolute, and mutually exclusive, then it's actually easy for artificial intelligence to identify what are the ideal accounts to go after. But if you take into a lot of factors that require some judgment calls, say by human, okay, that part of it is still very hard to actually write codes as a part of the coding or part of software or part of algorithm. Because at this point, a lot of the algorithms, they have to learn. You have to feed them a lot of data that's called deep learning or machine learning. You have to feed in a lot of data to help the machine learn. So that kind of emotional intelligence or EQ, like you indicated, you need to feed it in a way that they actually can make that judgment call. I think we are still a little bit away to get there, but nonetheless, there's a possibility.
Yeah, it'd be
Yeah,
hard
but
to.
at this point, to answer your question, sorry to interrupt you,
No,
Connor, it's
please.
it's still a judge. It's still a human decision that needs to make that call.
Yeah, well, it's like
Okay.
you still have to put navigation in your phone, but you have to know, like, if you see a roadblock, not to just drive
Not
through
to
it,
drive
right?
through,
Like,
exactly.
like you see those pictures of people who end up in like a
In a
lake or
ditch.
whatever. Yeah,
They were like,
so.
what? Yeah.
And
So,
we're in that. It's the funny thing too. We're in that weird period where, I mean, you see it on LinkedIn also. You get those automated messages. There's some sort of AI that's
oh,
doing
totally.
messaging and
Right,
stuff like
right,
that,
right.
and picking personas. And I think there we're just in this really weird time. Which is why this conversation is so interesting to me. Where some people still try to over leverage it and rely on it and forget about the human side of things.
Yeah.
And in a lot of cases, maybe the market is still underutilizing a lot of the capabilities of AI as well right now, of what's actually available.
Yeah. So, Connor, you brought a very good point. And I totally understand. And working with different clients and also talk to different industry peers and how to find that balance, like not overemphasizing the AI's benefit, but also take advantage of AI whenever possible. So how to find that benefit or how to find that balance, if you will, it's a judgment call. I hate saying it. And like, for example, I recently launched a chatbot
I think
for
you
my
lost me.
website.
Am I back?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you're back.
Okay, never keep rolling. You were still going. I dropped out for whatever reason. My connection is being weird.
Oh, it's
Proceed.
totally okay.
Proceed. That was funny.
So, like recently, I launched a chatbot, and in order for the chatbot to work, I have to kind of build a workflow. I need to anticipate there are certain type of questions that people will ask because I will anticipate the questions, then I will come up with appropriate answers, and I will build a workflow based on the type of questions that people will ask. And you know what? My site is not difficult, right? I'm a B2B marketing consultant and I focus on the sales and marketing alignments. When people come to me, they probably want me to speak or they want to talk to me about potential trainings or they want me to engage on certain projects. You think just on these three offerings that I have, it should be easy to build workflow.
Mm.
But once I build that workflow based on with my simple mind, I'm a simpleton, and then I test it and I start testing and I noticed that people asking questions very differently. They will ask, is it Pam available right now to have a chat? Well, I don't have answer for that.
To the chatbot.
Okay. Yeah. So their chatbot, the chatbot was like, I don't understand your question. Can you repeat that? I was like, seriously?
Yeah.
You are really a bot. Anyway, so and then I have a question like, oh, I read your blog about AI. What do I need to pay attention about AI when I purchase computer? I was like, seriously? Nobody has ever asked me that question about purchasing a PC and then link that to our AI. So once I kind of test that bot, and I was like, oh my God, there are so many questions I did not anticipate the type of question that people will ask that's beyond me. Like from my mindset, I was like, people will come to me and ask me for three things. No, they asked me a whole lot more than that.
And not a single one of the three things.
Yeah, exactly. So
that's
at the same
hilarious.
time, I try to build. So at the same time, I want to make sure I train the bot as well, right? So
that's where
I make sure,
that's where
it's that deep machine learning
comes in.
exactly. Yeah. So I want to train the bot, but I'm not saying I cracked the nut. I haven't, but I'm still working through it. But it's an interesting journey. Yeah. So that's my experience of using a third-party platform. Again, I'm not building a model, right? I'm not building a regression analysis. Or I'm not building any sophisticated model to test, thousands of the transaction data I have. None of that. I'm just using a third-party platform that actually have AI built into it and learn how to use that. So my recommendation for everybody out there who listen is try to do something like that. Just get a sense of it. You know, how
Now,
AI
I may have
works.
missed this, but this is on your website. This is on a social page. Where does this live?
You mean my chatbot?
Yeah.
Oh, my chatbot is actually on my website.
On your website. Yeah. And you see a lot of those. Some of them are actually live, but that is another example where we're seeing AI.
Yes.
Is those chatbots.
The one that has done a fantastic job, seriously, I found a very good job of managing, you know, thousands of questions and try to actually serve up the relevant content. And also if the content is not appropriate, and immediately say, hey, do you want to talk to somebody? Upwork. You know, the website that you can find a lot of contractor, upwork.com. If you go to their support site, oh my God, their chatbot is fantastic. I love it. It did a fantastic job.
So lookalike audiences, identifying, being able to scale your audience, chatbots. What are other actually impactful means that B2B marketers can use with AI right now?
Another one is a segmentation of your audience. I know that a lot of B2B marketers are drowning, you know, in data, especially if you have a database and that with hundreds of thousands and millions of a customer's name. And so it's actually very hard to keep current or keep a good quality data. And the AI can play a role in terms of help you either segment the data and also identify the data decay, or if you can set up a certain selection criteria in terms of how you want to measure or the quality of data. And of course, this is a whole lot more cumbersome and complicated that you are just like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to find one tool and this tool is going to help me clean up data. That's not what I'm trying to say. You need to think through what is your objectives, what objectives you want to accomplish for your database and the quality of data. Define what's the quality of data that you are shooting for. And then use the different tools, use different models, and the work behind the back end to tie everything together. And AI can play a role to actually help you to enhance the quality of data. So there's so much going on into that specific topic. I don't want to bore everybody. What I'm trying to say is the segmentation before you want to do any kind of personalization outreach, you need to make sure your data is clean. And the AI
sort of account-based marketing. So if you're going to craft content towards an audience, that'll help you segment your audiences. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yes, and personalize it. So the AI, if you use artificial intelligence as part of the third-party tool, or even work with your data scientist to build a model, you can actually tackle your data problem. And once your data is to the point, like meeting your expectations, and then you can think about in terms of how you can segment it. So,
do you use that personally on a smaller scale with your business, or is this really enterprise level strategies that we're talking about here?
The way in general that gets most value and most cost effective, because to do this kind of things costs money. Yeah. So not everybody have that kind of budget to actually do it. So this is more enterprise play, to be honest with you, Connor. So what I suggested, this is more on the B2B side, and it's an enterprise play, and the marketer tend to work very closely with IT, with data scientists, and even with the marketing research departments to actually clean things up. Is a massive a scope. For me specifically, I don't use AI for my database. My database is not that big. It's probably 10,000 at this point. And so I do quite a bit of, I use different third-party tools to do cleaning and also data analysis. I don't do it myself specifically, but I do work with analysts to actually analyze my data. But I also pay attention to the quality of my data. So I'm the type of person like to delete. I'm a purger. I don't know if you are a hoarder or you are a purger. I'm a complete purger. Like I will look at my database. I will try to clean it as much as I can.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's about getting like not so much what can you add, but what's the quality you can maintain and the junk you can get rid of.
Exactly.
Especially in the noisy world that we live in now.
I do agree with you. I mean, for a long time, I will focus on, quantity, right?
Yeah.
I want my database to be big. I think over a period of time, I actually focus more on quality. I want the smaller database, but it's a higher quality. It's the people that they want to listen to me, if the people who are interested to learn something from me, or they can be my potential customers.
Yeah.
So yeah, now I'm actually more focused on quality. Took me a while to get there.
Yeah. Well, once you actually start seeing, if you're a small business and you actually start getting traction through your list and leads, and when you're nurturing it the right way, it's like, whoa, why do I have all this crap in here? Like,
Yeah.
build this sucker the right way.
Exactly. So I guess everybody, when they started, they always focus on volume.
Yes.
But at a certain point, you're like, no, volume is not the most important things. Let me focus on quality.
100%.
Yeah.
Sales and marketing alignment is another one of these like major buzz terms. You hear it all over the place, but again, I'm interested from your perspective. How would you define it, and how can you be successful with sales and marketing alignment?
So for longest time, there is traditionally, let's just take one step back. And before the digital era, before digital marketing, before the cell phone becomes popular, that the sales is sales and marketing is marketing, right? Marketing do a lot of print, do a lot of media buy, do a lot of events. It's very traditional things, right? And then they will just more focus on the brand awareness, right? Top of the funnel, that's how we call them. And the sales tend to focus on the bottom of the funnel, right? They have through referral, existing network, attending the events with the marketing people, and they get the potential customers. They take it from there. They wine and dine with the potential customers as well, right? So the sales and marketing, tend to be kind of see as a separate functions. They do work together on specific accounts, but most of the time they do their own thing. However, with digital, they somehow make that boundary blurry, right? So for email marketing, as example, as a marketer, you do a lot of email marketing campaigns. I'm sure that you do, right? Guess what? For the salespeople, if they want to reach out to the existing network or even to a prospect, they also run their own mini email campaigns, right? They have a target list. They want to send it out. They want to share some of the content that salespeople find useful, right? So, well, we also do email marketing campaigns. You also do your email, mini email marketing campaigns, but very targeted. Right there, there's some sort of duplication. Okay, and also on digital, everybody consume content on your website. I mean, on your mobile phone, right? Salespeople, if you have prospect, they constantly look at the phone and check out different content pieces, right? So all of a sudden, the content marketing the content that you created for marketing outreach can also easily be used on the sales side for sales engagement. But not every single marketing piece can apply on the sales side. So you need to think through what are some of the content pieces on the marketing side can also be used on the sales side. So now all of the sudden, digital front, right? The overlapping between the sales and marketing becomes bigger and bigger, right? The overlapping. Therefore, now the alignment is more important than ever, right? So that's why, from my perspective, marketer cannot just focus on the top of the purchase funnel anymore. They need to look at the whole funnel, right? The middle of the funnel, the bottom of the funnel. And there are times that a lot of stuff that marketers are doing can actually help sales to facilitate that sales conversions. So the conversation between sales and marketing needs to stay much closer than ever before. In fact, that's where account-based marketing comes from, which is the marketing people work with the sales collectively to tackle and to win a specific account. That's really the essence of ABM, account-based marketing. So the marketers will leverage the existing marketing element, right? Retargeting, pay ads, content marketing customized for that specific account, whatever, right? It's working with sales very closely and to help the sales close the account, close the deals. So account-based marketing is one approach of the sales and the marketing alignment, but there are many more, but that's just one example.
And specifically speaks more to digital than
Yes,
anything.
definitely.
Right. What else is you've been in marketing a number of years. You've been in different economies, but no one's really been in this experience. What from your perspective, what are some other tips, strategies, tools, recommendations that you'd make for business development leaders to finish out 2020 as strongly as humanly possible?
Oh my God. I talked to all the marketing people and the sales people. They just want 2020 to be over. Nobody wants to stick around to the 2020 sphere. We just want this to be gone. All right, done. Okay, let's have the vaccine that has testing. That's just like, okay, have those available so we can do a proper marketing and the sales at this point. So I totally understand. And this whole not social distancing, not to have that human touch, and it has a huge impact on salespeople. Salespeople used to go to visit their customers. Marketing people used to host events for salespeople so they can wine and dine or actually have a conversation with their prospect. Now that physical events, anything that's physical, that to drive any kind of communication outreach is completely gone, right? We can't do any of that. So with that being said, everybody just like, boom, everybody goes online. Have you noticed like the online sphere is a whole lot more noisier and also more clutter than ever before, right? That's because there's no physical channels that we can go after. Okay. So it creates a huge problem for salespeople, big time. And then sales, all of a sudden, they need to learn how to be very savvy, like doing Zoom or do a show and tell, by talking like what we are doing right now, right? Video conferencing. Before, the video conferencing can be very like, oh, proper, hey, Connor, how are you doing? Oh, let's talk about this agenda and topic. But now, in order to get your energy across, you need to be a whole lot more animated. You need to actually bring some energy. You need to have a better microphone, for crying out loud, right? Like this one, the Yeti that you are seeing in front, that we are using Zoom so you can see me. So it creates huge problem in COVID, in the midst of COVID-19, and the issue at this point, and that all the marketers and the salespeople encounter, is how can we get our message across, and through virtually in a very crisp manner. Everybody is encountering that problem, including myself. I'm not kidding. So I'm trying to pivot, and I try to actually look at my my own messaging, and I look at my value proposition. And also everybody is online, right? What are some of the best way to reach out to them? So my recommendation to all my clients and also the sales and the marketing people is, let's go back to the basic, right? That's re-understand our customers again. So on the B2B side, we always have something called buyer's persona. So we try to identify who are our potential buyers, who are our personas, right? So we write down the stuff who they are. With the COVID-19, our behaviors, your buyers' behaviors have changed, right? The priorities are different. The way they use our products might be different as well. So you need to go back to a basic and visit that buyer's persona and update your buyer's persona, re-understand, re-engage. And it's kind of like falling in love with your customer again.
Get deeper with your customers now than ever.
Understand what has changed. Yes. Right.
For them, not what you think has changed.
Yes.
Yeah.
For them.
Yeah.
And so that is one. The other ones, once you understand the changes, right, and how they use your products, maybe they use your product differently, or maybe they use a different product. Maybe they don't even use your product. If that's the case, maybe you need to change your product a little bit. Then your product roadmap needs to change. So if they are using your product differently, that means your value proposition, your messaging framework, how you talk about your product also needs to change. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So now you just have to think it through, right? Their buying behaviors are changing. Okay. The way we're going to engage with them is changing, right? So can we document that? Can we document those changes? And also reevaluate our talking point. How do we match that together? So that's why I call go back to a basic. Look at your buyer's persona and look at your messaging framework and start from there.
Love it. Pam, how else can people get more information like this, find you, follow you, get into contact with you?
Oh,
and
yeah.
get your books.
So my books are on Amazon. So if you are interested in global content marketing, effective sales enablement, or the modern AI marketer, you can find it on Amazon. And if you would like to find out who I am and what my offerings are, and like I said, I'm more on the B2B marketing side of things. And my forte is a marketing and sales alignment, but really looking at it from a marketer's perspective, what we can do to better support sales. And so check out my website, pamdinner.com. And then reach out to me if you have any specific questions. And I'm actually on every single social media channel. You can find me on every single social media channel. If there's a channel you are using, I'm not, let me know as well. Oh, I don't use TikTok.
I was gonna say, what give a shout out to your TikTok account.
Oh my God. Oh, that's right. Immediately, I don't use a TikTok. You know what?
You would kill it on TikTok. You're so animated. You got like such a big personality. You'd rock it.
Oh, you're so sweet. I don't know. I just like they are so sophisticated. Those kids on the TikTok, they are so good.
Yeah.
So good. I mean, literally, I can look at a TikTok and I was like, 30 minutes gone. I was like, what am I doing? I was looking at TikTok. This is ridiculous.
No, it just eats your time away.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's what good marketing should be like. And your B2B marketing doesn't have to be much different from that either. So yeah, if you want to learn more and everything, you got to follow Pam, get that great information. And I can't thank you enough for taking the time to do this and share. Look forward to reading your books. And also, those of you listening, we're on all your favorite podcast apps. Make sure you subscribe wherever you like to listen. Leave a 5-star review so others can find the show too. And we'll see you over on the next one.
Thank you so much, Connor. It has been a lot of fun.